Also celebrating fathers and father figures this morning, looking at the impact fathers have on child development. What about absent fathers? What sort of impact do they have on their children's lives, especially the girl child? How are their lives from child to adulthood affected? Well, let me bring in someone that knows all about that, Dr. Disa Mogashana, and she has written a book titled Unfathered, and she joins us now live in studio. Disa, thank you very much indeed for your time. Really appreciate you coming through, and your little friend there, little D. Yeah. Tell us about yourself. I understand your story is that you didn't grow up with your biological father, correct?
Yes.
Tell us a bit more.
Just firstly to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, including my own father. I just want to say Happy Father's Day to him. We've come a long way. The story, Unfathered, is a story of the little girl growing up in the absence of her father. It's a memoir. It's actually a letter. It's written as a letter to my father, talking about all the pain of having grown up without him, and what it entails to be a little girl, to grow up in the absence, all the emotional experiences, rejection, abandonment, and all the moments where you needed him and he was not there.
And how did that affect you in the various stages of your life, from childhood to adolescence and now adulthood?
I think as a child, you know, when other children are talking about their father and you wonder where yours is. It's a very painful experience, because sometimes you close your eyes, you dream, you hope that he will come back or he will show up, but he's not there. And as a teenager, I think you struggle with, you know, self-worth issues, not feeling like you're good enough, lacking affirmation, lacking someone to tell you that you're beautiful, you are lovable, and all those issues. And they don't stop there, those issues. They go right with you into adulthood, where you still struggle with some of those issues of rejection, self-love. Yes, accepting yourself for who you are.
And look, I know a lot of casual conversations will use the phrase, and I don't know if it's politically correct, but daddy issues, you know, women having daddy issues. Explain that to us in terms of how it manifests itself.
So, I mean, women with daddy issues, I mean, as I was saying to you earlier on, that the absence of a father affects men and women differently. And I guess to a less extent, that attention is not women. There's a tendency to think that it affects us less because your mother was there. But in fact, daddy issues, especially when they manifest in adulthood, you find that a woman struggles in romantic relationships. In some cases, we find that they attract men who are like their father in terms of men who reject them, men who abuse them, men who are just not good for them.
And this is unconsciously?
This is unconsciously, because, so for example, if you have not been affirmed by your father, you don't know whether you are loved, you actually reject yourself, or you don't love yourself, you don't think you are worthy of love. And then you draw to yourself subconsciously to men like that.
And you put up these walls.
Yes. But on the other side, there are men that you can, you know, if you are lucky, attract men who love you. But you don't know how to experience love from them. And then you self-sabotage. You mess up, you yourself mess up those relationships, because to you, that kind of love, real love, is not normal. I
just want to understand the psychology behind this, in terms of, you don't know you're doing this, isn't it? It's not a thing that where you sit down and you say, you know what, because of my dad, I'm going to do A, B, and C.
Yes.
It just happens naturally to you.
And perhaps the reason why little D is here with me. So this is what happens. You are an adult, and there's a child inside of you, perhaps a 4-year-old. I refer to little D as the 4-year-old version of me. So subconsciously, little D has needs that were not met as a child. And here is Disa, the 36-year-old, who subconsciously is not aware that she is actually having issues of a 4-year-old. So as an adult, you are successful, you appear to be successful, and everything is going well, but the little D inside of you have needs that are not met, and she can drive you. She can really drive many of your decisions that don't make sense to the 36-year-old, but are actually the needs of a 4-year-old that were never met. Affirmation, seeking love in wrong places, still feeling abandoned. Yes, so
Do you ever come to a stage where you are satisfied with yourself that you've overcome this? I mean, just reading a bit about you, you have a doctorate in chemical education, correct?
Engineering education.
Engineering education. I mean, you seem successful on the surface. You seem all composed, strong. But how are you feeling at the moment?
Look, it's been a long journey for me. So I've had a lot of therapy and healing. It's a journey to healing. It takes time. And it's an ongoing journey. At one level, you have dealt with accepting yourself and being okay with being alive.
Yeah.
And learning to love yourself and knowing that you are worthy of love. But it's a journey. Like, for example, at the moment, the biggest challenge that I'm dealing with is self-reliance issues, where I'm finding out that I don't like being a burden. And it's an issue that potentially developed in childhood, where I must have, being that child whose father's not there, at some point I must have felt that I don't like this, and I don't like burdening people. So here's a 36-year-old successful person and all that, who's still having to deal with little D's issues that may have developed that she doesn't even remember. So it's a journey. It's a journey.
This journey, you can't do it alone, isn't it? You need help. Your advice is to get help.
Yes.
Yeah. Professional help?
Professional help. I mean, there are different ways of this. There's psychologist.
Yes.
There's life coaching as well. I'm also a life coach.
Okay. All right.
Among many things. There's life coaching. There's spiritual healers. There's church. There's prayer. By prayer, of course, that accompanies everything. Yeah. But there are different ways. And it begins with talking. It begins with acknowledging that pain still exists and that it still needs to be addressed.
Put your life coach hat on and explain to those who say, you know what, I have a father that is physically present but emotionally absent. How would they deal with that?
Wow, okay. So, and it happens a lot. That's why these days I don't talk of unfathered women. I talk about women with complex relationships with their fathers, and including those whose fathers are physically present and sometimes even physically present and abusive. And they actually experience the same kind of issues as those whose fathers are not there. They have rejection issues. And I think for them it's also important to acknowledge that that void is there. And if it's not acknowledged and if it's not addressed, they also go out and seek it elsewhere. Yes.
So be honest with yourself and talk about it and seek help.
Yes, seek help. And things like reading. I mean, you'll be amazed by how many women I speak to who have read my book, who are saying, you know what, you have put in words the feelings that I could never articulate. And that has helped me look at my story and see my areas where I still need healing. And it begins with acknowledging that pain exists somewhere inside of you.
And no doubt by you just being here and telling us about your experience will help the thousands of viewers that we have there and are watching this. So thank you very much indeed for your time. You're more than welcome here to discuss these and other further issues in days and months to come. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
All right, that was Dr. Disa Mogashana, an author of Unfathered. We're going to take a quick break.